to talk a little bit about my experience. Yesterday, I decided to do a total of 3 grams of psilocybin mushroom. I ate it. I actually like the taste of it. I know some people don't, but I like it. Anyway, initially I wanted to do 5 grams, but it didn't come at the time that I expected it to come, and I wanted to give myself time to come down from it and be able to resume life as usual. So I decided to do 3 grams. I have previously only done 1 gram one time. So I decided to do 3, and I didn't really know what to expect about 3 because 5 is a hero's journey, and most people don't talk a lot about, I mean, you hear the term microdosing, which is doing less than 1 gram a day, but you don't really hear a lot about 3 grams. So yeah, it was like I ate it on an empty stomach, and at first I was like, whatever, of course. And it was like I was talking on the phone to one of my friends because she had a weird dream, and she called me like early, like it was like 7 o'clock or something, and I was up cleaning, and I kept cleaning, and I probably started eating at around 8, and we were still talking, and I was like, oh, she was like, well, did you eat them or not? And I was like, yeah, I did. And I was like, I don't feel anything. I was like, I guess it'll kick in later. Later my ass. All of a sudden I kept feeling like I wanted to throw up, but I wanted to eat at the same time, and I was like, oh, let me try to absorb it with some food. That was a no-no. Like, and it wasn't just a no-no because it was already in my system, but I think also it wasn't going to soak up nothing. Like, it's not alcohol, it's in your system system, so like in your blood. And that's what I began to feel, like super dizzy. And I sat down, and I don't know, I started talking a little bit crazy, and she was just like, whatever, I'm gonna go take a walk, I'll talk to you later. And I was like, okay, be safe, stay on the sidewalk. And she was just like, girl, bye. And it was like it started to increase, the sensation of dizziness started to increase, and I wanted to throw up so bad. And all I started hearing was mama ayahuasca, which is very not what I expected because I ate shrooms. So to think that I'm experiencing another medicine, she said we're sisters. And she was like, and we both come here to help you. We both come here to help you. We heard you, and we both helping you. You just gotta let it pass through. And I was like, you mean throw up? And they were like, if that's what you feel like you gotta do. And I started like throwing up in a bag at first, and then I don't know, I thought I was getting ready to go do something else and finish my cleaning, but I couldn't. It was just like my body just could not function. My body couldn't function. It started to feel heavy. It started to feel like I ate cement, like it was liquid, and then it started to solidify inside of my body. That's how it felt. Like I felt way too heavy to be able to do anything. So I just sat down, and when I sat down and I looked around, it was like things started to take on this geometrical form, and I was part of the geometrical form. I was sitting on the carpet, on the floor, and I was part of the geometrical form. And all of a sudden I was just like, oh my God, I forgot to breathe. And because it felt like it was coursing through my veins. Like, what are you doing, you dummy? It felt like it was coursing through my veins, like as if it was going, like I could feel it going up in my brain and passing through neural pathways. I felt like I could feel it in my cells. I felt like I felt it running through my breast tissue, running through my uterus. I felt like it was in my leg muscles. Like, I just felt like it was in every part of my body, just repairing, if that makes sense. And I don't even know that shrooms do that, but I felt like physically I was being changed on a cellular level. It was very whoa. And I couldn't move at the same time, but I could feel I could feel that happening to me. And I heard like Mama Ayahuasca's voice just saying, let it pass through, let it pass through. We're just here to work with you. Don't fight this. And I was just stuck sitting there, and I closed my eyes, and then it was like, I got to throw up again. And that kept happening for like, I don't know how long it was happening, but it felt like an hour that I kept feeling like super heavy, and then like I got to throw up. I kept feeling that coursing through my veins, and then I got to throw up. And at some point in time, I remember I felt like, oh, okay, I think I'm done throwing up. And I started to get up and try to organize some books or something. And I was like, oh no. And I tried to run to the bathroom. And it was like my plants were calling me. And mind you, I have a lot of plants. But it was like as if I was in this intimacy with the same plants that I have and take care of all the time. It was like a moment of intimacy, like as if they were talking to me in this seductive voice. One of them especially, and I always call her flirty, coqueta. I always call her that since I bought it, and I felt that energy when I bought it, and it was like she was really being a coqueta. and the other plants were just like there. And another one even talked to me at the moment that I forgot to breathe, and it was just like, hey, breathe. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. But anyway, I think that when you feel like you're like that moment where everything feels like cement and you're about to die, I think that was the moment that my ego kind of gave way and really was dying. But when I ran to the bathroom to throw up, I was hanging over the toilet, and something said, you're not going anywhere until you let go of this shame. And I was like, oh, come on, my stomach. And it just kept feeling like my stomach was churning, and they was like, they're little worms. Shame is like worms. She kept saying shame is like worms eating up your intestines and eating up your body, and that's why you keep having all of these food allergies and all of these things that you're allergic to. You're not allergic. She was like, you're not as allergic as you are experiencing like a chemical reaction to something. Like, how do I want to explain it? It's like how with allergies, right, that people say you can eat pollen. And the only reason that if you don't eat any pollen, when pollen and stuff comes out in the springtime, it's like as if you have this huge ass reaction. But for people who allergic reaction, you start sneezing and your eyes are watering and all that kind of stuff. But if you introduce pollen into your system ahead of time, you wouldn't have that experience. It's kind of like that I didn't introduce anything into my system, and therefore I'm reacting to everything that I consume all the time. And that's kind of how I picked it up. And she's like, you gotta let go of this shame. And I had my mouth open to throw up, and I burst out crying. And all of a sudden, all of these memories that I did not remember about myself, about things that I had gone through, I guess things that I minimized, things that happened so strongly and so quick, like swiftly in my life, and even briefly, that I just kind of minimized them and didn't realize that it changed my character, or changed my person. And one of the main themes that was coming up was poverty. And I always, especially at this point in my life, I forgot to say at the beginning of the video that my intention that I set long before they ever even came to me, when I knew that I wanted to work with it, I knew that I needed to break through something egoic. I knew that I had certain blockages in my way, especially like egoic blocks. Get over if that's what you're gonna do. Gosh. sorry. I felt like I even like slept with it under my pillow that night and stuff like that. Like that's what I was programming myself to do, to release, to let go whatever blockages are in my way. And so I didn't know what to expect. Anyway, while I was hanging over the toilet crying, it was just like this cry that didn't belong to me. It didn't sound like myself. And it was like a sad warning. I don't even want to hear it in my ears right now. I'm about to cry. But I started remembering what it was like to be poor. Oh, there's a crystal show this weekend. I might go buy some. Anyway. I lost track. Oh, sorry, I'm going back. What I was gonna say is I always focus on what I'm grateful for and everything that I have. And there's certain poverty struggles that I've had as an adult that have been very traumatic to me. But I realized as a child that I also went through things that were quite traumatic to me, and it marked me. And the first memory that I had, I remember I was wearing my cousin's shoes. I didn't get my own clothing. It seemed like I was walking up the hall to second grade. I was a new kid. I didn't get my own clothes probably until middle school, as in like new clothes from the store. I always had hand-me-downs most of my life. And even as an adult, I do buy new clothes. I just, not often. A lot of the times I still go to the thrift store because that's what I'm used to doing. And I don't like shopping in like places with a lot of people. It gives me a lot of anxiety unless I'm with someone else. And so I avoid that. Anyway, in the memory, I was walking to class. My mom had dropped me off and I was late and my skirt didn't fit, and I had a bunch of bobby pins that were, or not bobby pins, safety pins that were like poking me in the side, and I had on these wool stockings, and the back of the shoe didn't fit. They were too big, and my mom stuffed them with toilet paper, but you know, like, toilet paper is not what you stuff it with. So it was like scratching the top of my foot and the back of my foot, because my foot kept sliding forward and back. It was hitting the buckle in the front. They were like some little Mary Jane shoes or whatever. The buckle kept scratching me because my foot didn't fit. Like, yeah. And I remember like being really nervous walking up the hallway, being nervous to go into the class and be new again and be late. And what I was going through at that time, I didn't have anything to eat on my stomach. I remember what it felt like in this memory to be sitting in class with no food on your stomach. And I didn't realize that it's a behavior that I picked up in childhood. I still don't eat breakfast most days, and a lot of it came from being anxious. Like, I couldn't eat in the cafeteria with other people around me, so I would just be hungry, and that hunger would cause me not to focus in class, although I was really intelligent. In some classes you wouldn't know the difference, but I was still a very quiet child. But anyway, I just remembered like going into class and other kids looking at me and making fun of them stupid wool socks, and I remember them saying her shoes never fit, like she looked like she gonna fall if she walk any faster. They made fun of me about everything, and I never thought that it bothered me because I never cared about nobody making fun of me. I cared about people putting their hands on me. That's where you messed up at. That's all I ever cared about. It didn't I don't think I had the capacity to feel what it felt like to be made fun of, because there was so much more under under the skin, and I remember, under the surface, and I was remembering feeling helpless. Like, I remember walking in the jail. I was remembering my mom's ex-boyfriend, the one that he used to beat her up. And in my mind, I know that she had an abusive relationship, but I didn't realize how much I like stuffed down inside of myself, and what it felt like to be the child there, to be helpless. And I remembered yesterday going to help my mom, and she pushed me. And I mean, like, she didn't just push me, she pushed me like an adult pushed me hard, and I fell. And I was just trying to help her clean her face. I didn't remember that stuff. I was suddenly remembering, like, embarrassing hairstyles that my mom used to make me wear. Like, she put balloons in my hair and just like ridiculous shit, and just be like, oh, I had to wear ribbons. And I'm like, how is ribbons balloons? Like, that's two different things. It doesn't make any sense. And like, just being made fun of all of the time, I realized that a lot of me has a difficulty connecting, because I always feel like people are talking about me. And I didn't know where that comes from, because I don't be talking that much. And it was like as if the medicine was just telling me, like, this is what is inside of you, and it's going to cause you to constantly be paranoid and constantly think that somebody's talking about you, or constantly think these things because you never addressed them, you never stood up for yourself, or you never had the ability to heal these particular wounds inside yourself. I remember, like, going to bed hungry, or I remember being so in charge of my sisters that I didn't take any time for myself. I didn't have any time for myself, and I didn't make any friends, not through elementary. Even in middle school, I had one friend that, that I called a friend. And I had some people that I used to write notes to, because that was friendship back then. That was our texting. And at the end of the day, like, they weren't really friends either. Like, I remember I tried to call a few of them on the phone, and they just, like, wouldn't talk to me. And we never hung out anywhere or anything. I didn't do anything that other people did. I didn't get to play sports, although I have a very athletic body, and I was a very athletic child. I was not allowed to play for school. I wasn't allowed to do anything social. My mom, when she got married, became, like, super religious, and everything was a sin. Like, breathing air is a sin, and I couldn't. I remember, like, the teachers calling and begging her, can she run, can she run, can she run? Like, why are you holding your child back? She's an excellent runner. And my mom would be like, no, I don't want her after school running because there's boys there. It was ridiculous stuff all the time. And so I remember what it felt like to watch other people play. And I was crying, because I forgot that I wanted to play. I wanted to play soccer. I wanted to run. I wanted to do what other kids did. I never went to a dance. I never went to a game, like a football game or something like that at school. I never went to anything social. And in addition to not going to anything social, I was bullied mostly at home, which I've talked about before. But it was like yesterday, I was remembering what it felt like to be like, to be very, very, very alone. I remember at the time I didn't have any, like, it was my birthday, and my sister got a party, and like my youngest sister, she always got a birthday party. And my other sister that is 2 years younger than me, our birthday is like a week apart. So we always had the same birthday cake and everything, whatever we had, we did it together because wasn't nobody gonna pay for 2 cakes and things like that. So my mom was just being her regular old mean self, and she was like, oh, well, whatchamacallit's having a party, your sister's having a party. And I was like, you mean we're having a party? And she was like, no, you don't have any friends. Why would I throw you a party? And she started laughing at me. And I knew that it wasn't my fault that I don't have any friends. You never let me go anywhere. You never let me hang out. But it was like the moment I said that, it was like before I knew it, I said it out of my mouth. And I was thinking it. And I said it out of my mouth and didn't realize it. And she was like, that's why you're grounded. And so I wasn't even allowed to go to my sister's birthday party that year. I don't know, I might have been like 13, 14. I wasn't allowed to go to her birthday party. I don't know, I think they went to Pizza Hut or something, her and her friends. And when my birthday came, everybody was just like, oh, happy birthday. It was that, like, feeling made to feel less than, that the shame of just like not being enough, the shame of not being normal enough, the shame of, she was just telling me to like release the shame, release all of that shame, release all of that, release the pain that comes from shame. And I was crying and crying and crying more because I just didn't realize how much stuff was just stuck inside of my body. Does that make sense? Like, we really think that we're separate, like as if when we go on these spiritual journeys that we need to heal certain things that happen to us, but we don't even know the body is still holding on to things, and it holds the memories inside the cells. And it made sense to me that all of a sudden, boom, I was feeling like as if the medicine was coursing through every cell of my body because it was causing those cells to release and to let go of those different things that cause me so much shame of not being enough for the mother that created me, not being social enough, not talking enough, because people always think that something's wrong with quiet kids. Well, people think that something's wrong with quiet people anyway. Like, I don't really understand this world when you just choose to not talk and it's your business and other people bother you about it. I really don't understand that, but it's a thing. It's real. And I was made to feel less than by my family, and also made to feel less than by my peers. And I didn't realize I like being alone a lot. I'm a Cancer. I'm a whole introverted Cancer. Like, I like being alone so much that I didn't realize that these things were lodged into my cells as negative memories, as low self-esteem and shame and low self-worth. And I have this inability to really take care of myself. And by that I mean that, like, every time I go to, I've actually gone to, this is the first time. This weekend I ended up going to the nail salon. And I was like, I'm just going to get my cuticles clipped because they're getting on my nerves. They're starting to grow out and it hurts. And I was like, I'm just going to get this fixed. And my friend was like, get a pedicure. And I was like, no. And then when I walked in, the lady was like, come on, get a pedicure. And I was like, okay, universe, I hear you. And I did that. And I did both. And it's just like, all I kept thinking about was, what? I didn't want to spend this money. And then I went to the store to get one thing. I was looking for one thing, and I ended up coming out with like a whole bunch of items. I did make out really good, I'm not gonna lie. But at the same time, I was like, why are you spending money? Like, I realized where all of those thoughts come from of, lack, of poverty, of not having enough. Always just feeling like you don't have enough. You didn't eat enough. You don't have enough money for this. I realized that I live in such a tight, restricted way. And the medicine was speaking to me, and it was saying, let all of this shit go and start to love yourself. Start to take care of yourself and stop thinking of the cost of it, because you see the cost of it. The cost of it is your health. The cost of it is a lack of prosperity. you only get but so far in your life, because you keep restricting yourself, you keep limiting yourself. And so in the biggest way, like I keep feeling like lately that I want to serve on a higher capacity. I hear that. I hear the calling, I feel the nudge, I feel all of that. And I keep feeling like an inability, like I keep erasing every video and throwing out every post and just really criticizing myself. And I realized as that medicine was coursing through me why I do that, why I criticize myself worse than anyone else probably ever will. It's like as I was getting that stuff out my cells, I'm certainly going to have to do it again, but it was like I was just peeling off this layer. I felt like a sensation as if I'm peeling off the first layer of cells. But it was like as I peeled away that layer, I realized like this is more me. I feel more like myself. And at the end of all that crying over the toilet, I threw up. And it was just like after that, I just went and took a nap. I just felt like, oh, I'm tired. Like I just need to go rest. And I mean, I felt like as if it was like, as if I stayed out partying all night, that I needed to just go to sleep. And that's exactly what I did in the middle. I thought it was the middle of the afternoon. I checked my phone at that point in time, and it was only 11:30. So like from the time that I started eating it at 8 and all of that processing, and it was only 11:30 in the morning. And I went to sleep till about 2:30. And I remember waking up around 12 to go to the bathroom, like I just had to pee, and turning on like acoustic guitar. I just wanted to hear the guitar so bad. Nothing but the guitar. And it was like so soothing to me, and I went back to sleep. And I actually don't remember dreaming anything. If I did, I don't remember it. I just remember like actually feeling asleep and actually feeling like as if my brain was turned off. Because most of the time I don't feel that way. I feel very anxious, like as if I gotta go all the time. And yesterday I truly felt like as if my brain was turned off and I went to full asleep without thinking about anything. I felt like I was in the arms of Mama Ayahuasca and I was just resting. And I remember like saying thank you for helping me. And I did not realize that I was holding that much inside of my own tissues, my own cells. I didn't realize that I was holding so much and that it was so heavy and that I've been so restrictive towards myself. And now that I've let that go, I feel lighter today. I feel much lighter, and much more capable of taking care of myself. And I mean like really taking care of myself, like dedicating to a regimen. Not just the nails, but I realized like I'm bad about everything, like grooming myself on a regular basis. I don't be trying to shave. The only thing I care about is my hair most of the time. And I just kept thinking like, why are you doing this when you know that you got a certain energy that needs to be maintained, and you don't maintain it, and then you get mad or you get frustrated with yourself. And it's like I don't feel that sense of regression. I don't feel that sense of needing to go back and forth. And they were talking to me about eating, and that I don't need to keep restricting myself from eating and going in these poor cycles. All I'm doing is causing myself more health problems and making my appetite worse because I don't consistently eat, or I overeat and then I undereat. And I'm really bad about that because of the way that I grew up. And I'm like perpetuating a cycle that no longer needs to exist. And I don't know, I woke up feeling free of like all the bondage of memories that I couldn't even remember, apparently. Yeah, there were some other memories as well that came up, but I don't want to talk for forever. But yeah. I'm almost at work now, so yeah.